सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। प्रातः स्मरामि हृदि संस्फुरदात्मतत्त्वम् सच्चित् सुखं परमहं सगतिं तुरीयम् यत् स्वप्नजागरसुषुप्तमवेति नित्यम् तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमहं न च भूतसङ्गः तपोभिक्षीणपापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिनां मुमुक्षोऽहमपेक्षोऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते। So we are continuing from last time's topic, assuming these 4-5 months of Bandh you have used it productively, assuming that you have heard the lectures. It's a big assumption we'll do now is you have already finished your karma yoga, selfless activities without any egocentric desires. Bhakti yoga, full of passion, any activity taken up with complete passion. Jnana yoga, knowing which direction the activity should take you. You have completed all this. Nitya, Nitya. What is eternal, I will follow. What is not eternal, I will not touch. Then we reached a state of Uparati, where now there is a general dispassionate attitude towards the world. General dispassionate attitude. Now you are not involved in the world much. You do what requires to be done. Not interacting with the world much because there is no need. Internally you are complete. Moving on to dharana, a general concentration of consistent effort towards reaching the higher. Then now last class we discussed was dhyana of meditation. There was this rishi and his wife living beside a riverside, and the rains were due to come. So they had the thatched roof and it was giving way. So the wife told the rishi that please tie the thatched roof properly so that the rainwater may not enter our little hut. And the rishi said, yes, we'll do, someday we'll do. And every day 4 hours, he had this habit of self-assertion, which includes meditation. So he would go by the riverside, close his eyes, sit straight, and then he said, मैं आत्मा हूं, परमात्मा हूं, मुझ में शक्ति इतनी है कि मैं आकाश को बांधूं, वायु बांधूं, अग्नि बांधूं, जल बांधूं, पृथ्वी बांधूं. Again, the wife comes from behind and says, listen, we have that work to be done. Remember the thatched roof? He looked angrily at the wife and said, मैं आत्मा हूं, परमात्मा हूं, मैं आकाश बांधूं, मैं जल बांधूं, मैं अग्नि बांधूं, मैं वायु बांधूं, मैं धरती बांधूं. The lady looks up and says, एक घर का छत नहीं बांध सकते, तुम क्या क्या बांधने चले हो. Start therefore in the chapter 6 of the Dhyana Shlokas, not Dhyana Yoga, chapter 6 of the Bhagavad Gita. There are 4 to 5 or more verses which starts that if you want to meditate, start with sense control. Just start with that. As soon as you understand how to control your senses, you will understand how to control the mind. The intellect will be more directed and you will reach the higher state. So how would you tackle meditation? Not the temporary methods. I told you the temporary method is like sitting by the side of the lake and the whole lake is covered by moss. So what you do, you want to see your reflection. So you move the moss, look around and you have the reflection and you're happy with it. And then you remove your hand, and as soon as you remove your hand, the moss comes back accumulated. This is what the temporary thing happens. I close my eyes and say, I am the self. Om, Om. And it gives me a temporary cessation of agitation. That's all. Stoppage of just for the temporary moment. And I'm very happy. And as soon as I open my eyes, all the problems come rolling in back in. The best way to remove the moss is slowly pick up the moss by hand and keep it away, one by one. You will still not see your reflection even after minutes and hours perhaps, but a distinct way of cleaning. Gradually, the moss automatically will become so thin that it will disintegrate before your very eyes and your reflection will be seen. Now, this seeing of reflection is permanent in nature. This is the way you should. So meditation always goes ahead of karma, bhakti, jnana. So first of all, focus on selfless activities. I have not seen a single god, including Krishna, sitting in meditation. But there are books now which I have seen Krishna also sitting in meditation, because the people who teach those kinds of studies, they themselves are meditating. So it's become a shortcut. What is true meditation? When the desires have gone down, when the agitations have ebbed, mind is not going anywhere, hardly a few desires are there. And then meditation is defined as single pointed concentration on a particular thought to the exclusion of all other thoughts under the constant supervision of one's intellect. So the intellect is constantly aware and it's pushing you towards that thought, constantly thinking, Om, Om. Now, how do you, so once you reach that state, there are procedural details. You sit with your, in Padmasana, if you can't do Padmasana, have a Sukhasana, sit properly, back straight, with slowly bend towards your pelvic region, close your eyes, your head, neck and back all in one erect, slightly bent towards the forward, and then start chanting Om. Either Om, I told you last time, or the name of a god, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Shivaya, Hare Krishna, Hare. Any mantra is all right. So how do you start with it? When you close your eyes and mentally start chanting whatever you want to chant. From my side, I'm saying Om. So Om, Om. Mentally when I'm chanting, it's very difficult to keep the count and track of time, of how much time I'm doing. That is the reason the one practice, what they recommend while meditating, is called japa. One is you can count in fingers also. Om, Om, Om. So 15 plus 15, 30. So when you do 108 or 100, it will come to around 15 minutes, not more than that. But the problem is you are continuously counting. Even that, if you don't want to do, you buy a mala like this. This mala usually has 108 beads. Why 108 beads? Because 108, 1 plus 0 plus 8 is equal to 9. And 9 refers to the mystic number. It's considered to be the number of God. Because anything multiplied by 9 comes to 9. 9 into 6, 54. 5 plus 4, 9. 9 into 9, 81. 8 plus 1, 9. 9 into 10, 90, 9. 9 into 3, 27. 2 plus 7, 9. Right? So all these numbers come to 9. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita has also got 18 chapters. It went on for 18 days. Mahabharata or all these 18, 18, 18. So you take a mala which has got 108. We need not count, assuming that it has got 100. This red is called red or anything. A jutting out of the mala is called Meru. So one hand, you put it on your lap. The other hand, you put it on your lap and you start counting the beads. Don't use your thumb to count, because this becomes automatic so much now that your mind will wander everywhere and yet the mala will go on. So to create a little bit of discomfort, what the Shastras prescribe is these two fingers put the mala across and use to count the bead with this middle finger. So, Om, 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 Om. This is the way you count. Then you rotate the whole thing with your eyes closed. You don't need to count how many number, because as it comes, you will suddenly reach the Meru. Okay, the end. As soon as this comes, you can close your eyes, rotate it again, put the same format and start counting. So some people say you have to do this both sides. If you do, it is called one mala. So you have to do at least 3 malas minimum every day. 3 malas, because what 3 malas means approximately 2 hours. So what the 2 hours happens? Nothing in the world is entering your head except the chant of Om or the name of a god, Shiva or Rama, Chanchala Mananita Ram Japakar. So you can say Rama, Tulsidas used to say Ram, 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 or you can. So this count of japa, slowly, eventually what will happen is mala will not be needed. Now you don't need anything external to become meditative. Now wherever you are sitting, open eyes or close eyes, you are already in a meditative state. Meditative state in the sense, nothing in the world disturbs you anymore. You understand the world's pithiness and don't take it seriously. So it doesn't disturb you anymore. You just close your eyes and sit. Open your eyes and walk around. But you are not bothered by the world. This attitude is very important. This, as soon as you reach this state, something wonderful happens. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 53, there is a concept which is called the drama of realization. The drama of realization is where mind is defined as a flow of thoughts. Mind is defined as a flow of thoughts. Good, bad, right, wrong. The intellect is defined as supervising these thoughts. So it identifies this is right, this is wrong, this is day, this is night. All it keeps on distinguishing between two pairs of opposites. So the mind, because of non-agitation, because of your selfless activities, has come to a state where it is just a trickle of thoughts. It's just going. When the trickle is gone, you start chanting. Om. So the mind is chanting now. Okay? Om. So mind is chanting, mind is going through Om, the sound, and the silence. The sound is called the matra and the silence is called amatra. So this mind is going sound, silence, sound, silence. The flow of thoughts of sound is still there. So sound, silence is going on. The intellect, whole life, it has been distinguishing and differentiating between pairs of opposites. Here also, it is witnessing the last pair of sound and silence. So the mind is flowing sound, 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 and the intellect is deciding sound, acha, sound, silence, sound, silence, sound, silence. It still is existing, mind is also existing. Suddenly, the mind stops the chant. Om, now there is silence. When there is silence, the definition of mind is it is the flow of thoughts. Since there is no more a flow of thought, there is complete stillness. There is nothing there. When there is complete stillness, for the first time in its life, the intellect, the police person does not know what to do. Because for the first time in its life, something has happened which has never happened before. The mind has ceased to exist. There is no differences and differentiations and judgment about what this is and what that is, because this and that has disappeared. The mind ceases to exist. Looking that the mind ceases to exist, the robber ceases to exist, the policeman is not needed. The intellect is completely perplexed and doesn't know what to do. And in that attitude, even the intellect disappears. For the first time in an individual's life, the mind has completely gone silent. The intellect has nowhere to go and it disappears. And during that time, it is said, you are propelled from individuality to the next step of totality. You experience extreme stillness, calmness. You are not bothered about anything anymore. Your mind has gone into a different plane of existence. You have left this plane of existence. This cannot be explained. This has to be experienced. It is a state of becoming. See, there is this English movie. Please try to see that movie. This movie is called Karate Kid. In this Karate Kid movie, that I think so, the martial artist who's there, Jackie Chan, I think so, he is teaching the child. And one day he takes the child to a top of a mountain to introduce him to something. As the child is going, he sees a lot of things happening. Everybody is practicing martial arts. And there, by the side of the window, he has a vision. He sees a lady doing a particular pose, posing, standing just on a 3 feet type of a pillar. And down, there is nothing but a valley. And before her is a huge poisonous snake, live snake, standing like this. And the lady is imitating the snake. So when the snake is moving this way, the lady is moving this way. When the snake is moving that way, the lady is moving that way. And this boy is so mesmerized with that. He goes to the master and says, did you see, master, what is that? You saw the way the snake was imitating the lady? The lady was imitating the snake. If the snake went here, she went here. If the snake went here, she went here. The master says, no, Dre. It is not the lady who was imitating the snake. It was the snake who was imitating the lady. The lady was determining where the snake should move, and the snake moved accordingly. This comes when your mind is completely at peace and at rest with yourself. You have nothing to complain about anything. And then he takes him to a small water jug and he says, if I put my hand like this and move the water, you will not be able to see the reflection. You will not be able to see your face because the water is agitated. Exactly like your mind. When your mind is agitated like the water, you will not be able to see anything clearly. But Let the mind be still, and you will suddenly see your reflection clearly. That's the beauty of stillness. So this boy, he listens to all this and says, oh, so your mind should do nothing. So the master says this beautiful line. He says there is a great amount of difference between the mind not doing anything and the mind being still. The mind not doing anything is tamas. It doesn't want to do. The mind being still is extremely powerful. Though both states look alike, they are not. That is why in the Shastras they always say tamas mimics sattva. Tamas is also laziness, non-interested in activity, not bothered about it. Sattva perceptibly looks as if the person is not interested in activity. There is only one difference. The difference is tamas, car does not move at all because the engine is switched off. Sattva, the car has already been moving at 100 k's and the engine is switched off, yet the car is moving because of past momentum. So this attitude of being in still, you are propelled to the next state. And that next state is called Turiya. Turiya is the fourth state of consciousness. I at present go through the three states of consciousness. I am a waker now, going through the waking experiences of the world. When night I sleep, I become a dreamer, going into the dream experiences of the world. Then in the sleep itself, I become a deep sleeper where I don't go through anything, a state of nothingness. In deep sleep, I don't have a body, I don't have a mind, I don't have anything. In dreamer, I don't have a physical body, but I have a mind and intellect. Therefore, the agitations are reasonably less. In the waking state, I have the mind, intellect, as well as the body functioning. Therefore, the world looks more real since the physical body is there. Therefore, more agitation. Fourth state is where you have become and you have understood the conditioned consciousness living through these three states is the unconditioned consciousness, the highest. That unconditioned consciousness called the self, which lives through all these three garbs of waker, dreamer, and deep sleeper. So when you are a waker, you can give me your name, you can give me your address, you can give me your PAN card number, you can give me your business details. Everything belongs to a waker, which is a temporary state. Because when you go into the dream state, the waker disappears and deep sleep disappears. When you go into the deep sleep state, the waking and the dream experiences disappears. When you come to the dream state, deep sleep, everything. So anytime waking, dream, or deep sleep, only one state exists for a little bit of period of time. But in and through all the three experiences, I am the waker, my name is so-and-so, this is my family. I am a dreamer, I am dreaming so-and-so experiences, and this is my dream family and my dream responsibilities. I am a deep sleeper, and the deep sleeper is nothing. I experience the beautiful sleep, deep sleep. I experience. Who is this I, which travels through all the three states of consciousness and yet remains unaffected? That I am I. Everywhere throughout the Granthas, they have mentioned this. You are that. Tat Tvam Asi. There are temples across India where on top they have written Tat Tvam Asi. You are that. The God, that infinite personality is within you. You have to understand that and become that. Once you become that, all the problems in the world disappear. How do you start? Tapo bhishina papa nam, the prayer which you are doing. Do tapas. Slowly bring back your sense contacts. Be in control of them, and then eventually you lead. You don't target the state of self-realization. You don't say, I want to reach that state of self-realization maybe after 1 year. Oh my God, I'm wasting so much time. Don't be in a race. Be joyfully aware of every day. Do your sadhana diligently. No pig-headedness about it. No ziddipana. Live and let live. Automatically you will reach the state even without realizing it. Once you reach the state, you reach this fourth state of consciousness, Turiya, the highest. After that, no, but then you people will say that after fourth, there is a fifth step also. Then there is a sixth state also. The great masters have said, the scriptures have said, there is no more any other state than that. So we have to take their word as faith and say, fourth state is the final. You become a picture of perfection, not according to the world, according to your own consciousness. Acid test is what? Nothing in the world disturbs you because you have understood that everything in the world is temporary. You are experiencing it in the waking state. And since it is temporary, you have a solution for everything. When I am writing in a book with pencil, which is temporary, nature has also given me a rubber to rub it. But if I see the writing and say, this is the way it is supposed to be done, rubber is there, but you don't do anything. One person in, I think so, England was sitting, it was a big fair, it was a hot day, and he was selling tea. I don't remember the person's name. And nobody was there in the shop because in the hot day, who wants to have a cup of tea? Everybody was enjoying their colas, soft drinks. So what this person did, he took the whole can of tea, put a little bit of sugar, put a lot of ice, and there started the iced tea. And it became a hit. Nature gives you a lemon. Either you sit and cry that why did this lemon come, or be intelligent enough to add a little bit of water and make lemonade. The choice of whether to get agitated or whether to be peaceful is completely in your hands. It has nothing to do with anybody. Gain control of your own self and you will gain control of the world. There's a beautiful example of Ramatirtha, where a man is completely agitated from his office work and he's sitting. He doesn't know what to do. His small child is there, and he's playing with Legos, the words they make. So the man's in his big, some play is there, jigsaw puzzle. And the man was trying to do the jigsaw puzzle, but it was not falling into place. He got irritated and sat there behind. And the child, what he did, it just turned the jigsaw puzzle. And when it turned the other side, it just fitted because it fitted in a human form. So he put the ears, he put the nose, and automatically the jigsaw puzzle came to rest. It got solved. The man was doing the Lego, the writing, like the dominoes, so Scrabbles. And irritation, because of the agitation, he said, God is nowhere. He wrote, God is nowhere in anger. The child looked at that and child could not understand this where and all is a pretty big word. So he knew only 4 alphabets. So what he did, he just removed the W of where and put it by the side of NO. No. So God is nowhere became God is now here. God is nowhere. You shift that W and it comes to God is now here. You see that Almighty presence everywhere. Your world changes, your perception of the world changes, and you move into entirely a different plane of existence. We'll conclude the whole concept what we did till now We did the fourth step also. Samadhi, I'll just explain to you next class. So next class, we'll do something a little different. We have been doing Yoga Vasistha, then independent talks. Now we'll probably go to Bhagavad Gita or some other text. Those who have any preference, please let me know, but we'll go for the Bhagavad Gita. Next class will be devoted to question and answers. So please, you can give me message. You have my number. You give me message and ask me questions. I will tabulate those questions and then give you answer. I will not naturally name who asked the question and all. It's immaterial. So I'll read the question and then we'll answer accordingly. As I answer, you see the reference of what is the answer is in your head. If it matches, then probably we are in the right path. Thank you very much. Oh.